You don't miss a trick, do you? I've come outside here so you won't. And him, the other fat one, you won't see what I'm doing. And already, she knows I've got something on my knee that she won't. She ain't getting anywhere. One of the neighbours had said to me, how do I keep my dogs reasonably healthy? So I said, well, they have clean water, clean diet, and as much exercise as I can give them. And she was saying that her dog, when she feeds it these kibbles, is having all kinds of fucking reactions with this kibble diet that she's been told it has to go on because of its allergies and all that fucking nonsense, folks. I wouldn't recommend anybody use kibbles when I know the history of kibbles and how, you know, in the 70s they were using tainted meats, dead carcasses that had died of all kinds of fucking problems, cancers and everything. And they were chopping these carcasses up and it was going into these kibbles. But anyway, I said to her, well, because she can't argue with these people. You know, the vet's told them kibble, so she gives it kibble. So I said to her, well, are you measuring the right amount? She said, well, yeah, he's a medium-sized dog, so I give him a dish full of this dried stuff. And then the dog sniffs around it for an hour or two, and then out of desperation will then eat the lot and then go for a drink. Now, I know a lot about kibble because I published a chapter in one of the recent books I've done, but I won't go into that, folks. But I asked her to give me a sample of the kibble, and she said, why are you going to have it tested? I said, well, no, I'll do a little test myself. I'm going to take it round to her in a minute. So I asked for just one piece of the kibble. And this is what happens, yeah? She's not measuring it out scientifically for the correct dose of kibble for a dog and its size, yeah? So this is how it starts off. This tiny little piece. Yeah, so I put the 2 pieces she gave me, I put in water. And after 2 hours, it's swollen to like 5 times its size. When you look at the size and then the thickness of this thing, to the little tiny slither there. So I'm going to go and explain to her now that the bloating and the wind and the puking up after it's had this stuff is probably the reason, you know. If she were going to give it the dog, you know, look what's happening inside its stomach, folks. Swelling to 5 times its size. So if she's giving the dog 2 or 3 times more than it should be having, no wonder the fucking thing's sick. And I'm going to explain, so I'll go and show what's happened. And hopefully she'll cease this fucking nonsense altogether. You know, and anybody out there that gives their dogs this stuff, you know, just think carefully. They tell you to have water on hand when the dogs have had this. If you insist on giving your dogs this, I would stick some in a jug in the morning with water, wait for it to explode, and then if you're going to give it the dogs, at least give it a measured amount of it once it's fucking done what it's done, folks. But I wouldn't give it a fucking, I wouldn't give it a prisoner. Anyway, there it is.